three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
All right, everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto, where not even a hurricane can stop us. We did each an individual show yesterday, and we're back together today. So this is AZcrypto and MrFOMO. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button. We would love to get more subs. We'd really appreciate it. If you could share this to everyone, we would love it. MrFOMO, we had a lot to talk about today. We're going to start with obviously, everyone pretty much knows by now that FTX was the winning bid. What they might not be aware of is Wave Financial has leaked some news, and we don't know if it's sour grapes or we don't know if they're making a great point. So I'm going to share something with the audience really quickly that talks about Wave Financial here. And it's interesting. Basically, if you don't know, Wave Financial claims that they had a plan for VGX and Voyager using the same platform that was going to give Voyager utility, that was going to save the platform, and that would be better for us, the unsecured creditors. However, it was leaked info, and there is an objection period up through October 19th. So if Wave Financial is serious, MrFOMO, my opinion is they need to give us more information. You can't just say, hey, we had a better plan for the community. Let's get more specific here. Let's talk about, and they do admit in the reports that they were offering less than FTX. So that's number one. They weren't the highest bidder. But did they really have the money? Yes, thank you, Brian. The objection is October 12th. The October 19th is when everything gets approved by the judge. You're right. So you do have until October 12th. So they've got some time. Thank you, Brian, for checking in. They've got some time to object here, but I would like to hear more information from them, more specifics, because there's been a lot of misinformation out there, starting with the $50 million bid like a week ago that we covered. So again, I would really, really hesitate to think this is all true. Now, if it is, that's a big if, MrFOMO, then we have a conversation, because a lot of people, including ourselves, held VGX. And right now, there's a lot of uncertainty with whether or not VGX is going to have any value at all. There is a fear that really FTX is going to kind of ignore VGX, and I'm afraid of that too. I'm not giving up hope on it yet, but it doesn't look great. Now, what is good, like I said yesterday, if you were watching, and if you don't get our initial reactions, make sure you go back and watch, is we are avoiding Chapter 7, and I think that's important to lay down. We're getting above the staking horse plan, which is 72%. We don't know exactly how much we're getting back, but it's supposed to be above that. And we should have access to our assets at some point sooner, because it appears, it's not official, that everything is going over to FTX. And again, this is assuming judge approval and everything goes through. FTX US is where our assets are going to be. Now, how those assets look is still to be determined, because there were tokens on the Voyager program, that platform, that are not on FTX. So that's going to be interesting in terms of how you get your value. So your guys have for the FTX are not supported. You know what, Lucy, John, I'm still trying to decide how I feel about FTX. Okay, because here's the deal: they're buying our assets, so we're gonna have access to them. They're not going to be trapped in a bankruptcy for years and years, like it looks like Celsius sadly is going to be. So that I'm happy for. I'm not thrilled about the idea that VGX is going to be worthless. That I'm not thrilled about. I'm not thrilled about the fact that there's still a legitimate chance that we're not getting 100% of our assets. That I'm not thrilled about. But we've known this since bankruptcy hit in July. We pride ourselves in being realistic on the show. It would have been amazing if something like Wave Financial came, gave us everything back, opened up the platform, had amazing utility for VGX. I wish that was my dream. In the back of my mind, though, I had to be realistic, MrFOMO, and we had to be ready for a scenario like this, where we got, thankfully, part or hopefully as much of our assets back, and we got the ability to trade. Remember, we talked about this. Every day you don't have control is a loss to me. So on one hand, I'm happy that this is close to being over officially. On the other hand, yeah, you have to be sad if you believed in VGX. Mr. FOMO, what about you?
There's still some discrepancy when you read these articles. They're very careful to say that FTX has bought the assets for Voyager, but I'm still wondering if there is a platform that is going to live on and be rebranded and move on. Because remember, they paid $1.6 million in bonuses to key employees, and that was to maintain the platform, to keep it running, to give it value. And they're very careful to say that this is a purchase of the assets and they never say anything about the platform. So I'm starting to wonder if this is going to be a separation of the two. And
I don't think so. I don't think so. And here's why. We've talked about this off the air. I think it would have been stated that the auction process is still not over and the platform itself is still available. Because we talked about this with the first FTX, and Melanie, I'll address your question in just a little bit. When you take the assets and the customers, you don't have a platform. You know what I mean? It doesn't exist. And the problem with Voyager and Steve relaunching as himself is it's too many lawsuits. We kept Alex Mashinsky just resigned. Steve can't reopen this, and I know people wanted that dream. There'd be way too many lawsuits. It just is what it is. As FTX acquires the assets, they don't have to be worried about getting sued, right? I'll say this, not legal advice. You still have the right to go after Steve after this is all over, and his leadership. I'm being serious. I think.
Well, what I think is going to happen, lawsuits and that kind of stuff aside, what I think is going to happen is the VGX owners are either going to get cash value for what they have, or they're going to get an opportunity for an FTT swap. Now, there was a time where we thought FTT wasn't available in the US, but you can get it on KuCoin. You can also get it on Coinbase Wallet. And so I think those are the two most likely candidates for what happens with VGX.
Well,
and to me, I would prefer an FTT swap based on several factors. First, FTT is deflationary. FTT it's used as collateral on their platform. So one, it has the utility, but two, you can it's going to go up in value. But then on top of that, we lost him. There he is. On top of that, they are looking to pick up Celsius, as one of the fans pointed out. And so as they grow, Celsius customers are people who are borrowing. They are people who, put their money or their tokens onto Celsius. They borrowed against those assets. These are people who would likely borrow again. And so these are people who would use the FTX token as collateral on the platform. And so if we picked up those FTT tokens now, before they started picking up the Celsius platform, if they do, it might be a great speculation and a great way for us to regain some value without really even doing anything.
And now I want to talk about something Melanie brought up. The staking horse plan was 72%. It was a combination of crypto. It was a combination of VGX tokens. It was a combination of cash and supposed new equity. So they had to beat that. That's what the 72% was about. So that's where, and they did pay more than, over 100 million more than what the assets were worth. And supposedly there is a plan to try to keep us engaged with FTX. They haven't released that. But if they come out and say you're only getting 65% of your crypto back, I think you're going to lose almost all the new customers you obtained. I don't think that's their goal. Their goal is to take our custom to just keep building. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. Just keep building. And you can't, Sam, it might not be the white knight, but you can't blame him for trying to grab as much of the market share as he can before the next bull run.
Yeah, and we've and I believe, you know, there are some good comments here, but I think that there's a chance that he just liquidates us, or like I said, you get a swap and you get some form of your crypto back. But the easiest way as a as a company is probably just to liquidate and give cash value and allow you to go in and and buy, you know, what you want or what you had previously. You know, that would be easiest for them rather than having to go through all the hurdles of figuring out
Melanie, I
what
hope you're right. Sam cares about his reputation too much not to make us close to whole. Listen, he's got the funds to get it close. Really, where people are going to get hurt is if they had a lot of EGX and they were hoping that would go back up in value. If you have USDC, I mean, yeah, he's got the money to cover that. Like a lot of customers had a lot of USDC because you got 9%. So he has there is a hole, but he's got the funds. Whether or not he's going to do it, we're going to see very soon. But yeah, he did, like if you had, you know, $40,000 in USDC, he's got the money to give that back to you. Whether he's
and
wanting to buy it.
I would agree with you. I agree with both of you that he is going to try and build his brand. That's what these acquisitions are about, is building the FTX brand, right? And that doesn't, you don't build a brand without building a reputation. So if he wants to keep that reputation or build upon that reputation, he's going to need to go well above that 72. But I also agree with Brian. The dude's a shark. Like, he puts on this nerdy persona and he gets onto the interviews and he just kind of, you know, hems and haws and deflects. But the guy's a shark. He's out there swiping up companies that are in trouble because he wants to be the biggest player in crypto, and it looks like he really is. I mean, the only other person that challenged really.
Yeah, I mean, Binance didn't get through. They wanted, you know, hey, like I said, you can't blame him. Wouldn't liquidation? Yeah, liquidation would be like Chapter 7. Liquidation is bad because you're looking at unsecured and secured creditors kind of waiting at the same time, and with legal fees would continue. That's what we need to understand here. The longer this went, the more money gets lost, and eventually, like Celsius's issue is, they don't have unlimited funds to go on forever. You can't. I mean, that's the thing about bankruptcy. No one's going to win 100%. You know, you get back as much as you can, and you try to put the pieces back together. You can't assume that you're going to come out better than when you went in. It'd be great. It's just not. It's not realistic. You know, the branch of DJ Crypto. DJ Crypto is very upset because of the VGX token right now being in great limbo. But again, we don't know how strong this Wave Financial offer really was. Do they have the funds to actually put it together? Because, you know, 1.42 billion is a big offer. And so if you're coming in below that, do you have the funds to execute a plan? And if not, you're not going to win the auction. No, the auction took a really long time. And we're going to
Gone again. We'll try to get him back. But yeah, here he is.
Sorry, guys. We we got, you know, tropical storm, hurricane winds outside, so bear with us. Again, if you like this, you like two guys trying to go on live while a hurricane's going on, hit that like button, subscribe, share it. We'll have to put that in the title too, that we're doing this during a hurricane, Mr. FOMO. So
right.
Get, you know, we've earned a couple extra subscribers. Come on, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. But go through, every customer got an email today. And many of you are in our situation where maybe you got a lot going on. So, Mr. FOMO, why don't you go through? And in Tennessee, I think, you know, that's one way to look at it. If it wasn't for Sam, the other bids might have not have been as good. So why don't you go through the email for our viewers in case they haven't a chance to look for it?
Okay, I'm going to jump over to that. So this is the email that everybody should have gotten. It's just kind of outlines for you what was the bid: 1.422, 1.311 for the assets, with an additional consideration of 111 million. And so my understanding is that 111 million consideration on top of the is probably what won it, and that's probably what was more likely people were trying to report in the Wall Street Journal last week. I still don't understand how you have a job at the Wall Street Journal and you come in the next day after printing an article that was off by 1.35 billion and you still have a job. So I'm interested to see if that person that ran with that story faced any kind of problems at their job. I would bet not, because the news is kind of like the weather lately. The weather is a little bit more accurate. But why the bid was selected, I think this is important for people to remember, is that the official committee of unsecured creditors was in on this. It was the highest and best bid, is what Voyager is saying, and it was significantly better for customers than its original bid. Now that is debatable, and that's because we are all VGX holders, and we've talked about that at length. The bid being best for VGX or for Voyager customers is based on sort of a broader sense of the customers and the people who didn't really own VGX at large, and a bulk of probably the crypto on the platform probably wasn't VGX. But at the end of the day, I think that statement is probably highly debatable just based on that. And the news that Waves probably came in with an offer to keep the platform going. Then it goes
I'd like to know more about the Wave situation. So if they really,
there he is again.
important to, there I am. We're gonna just battle through this storm here situation. I think it's important for people to understand too that the October 3rd deadline for just reviewing your bid in case there is a mistake still stands. So if you have not done so, you might want to go back through Stratos and take a look at your funds during the bankruptcy just to make sure it's accurate, because October 3rd hasn't changed. So the October 19th is kind of when the judge can approve the sale, and then we can get out of bankruptcy as early November. Now, what happens then? Do all the funds, assuming this goes through, goes to the FTX US mobile app? Does FTX decide, hey, we can use the app and recall and rename it FTX US instead of Voyager? There's a lot to be determined. Mark, I wish they would keep the platform going too. And people can object. You can send a letter to the judge. There's a process right now. You can talk to the UCC, and I don't know the legal ramifications of what they're allowed to say right now, but it's not 100% over, right? That's why the October 12th objection deadline's there. The judge has to approve October 19th. The T's and I's have not been dotted and crossed yet. Absolutely. It looks like we're going towards an end, but it's not 100% official just yet, because like I said, in bankruptcy, you have to go through all of the red tape and all of the actual dates, and the judge does have to sign off on it. So again, we'll know a lot. I think by October 19th, we'll know a ton. Now on this channel, we're going to cover this like no one else, but we're also got, hopefully when we get out of this hurricane, either later this week or early next week, 3 coins that you do not want to miss during the bear market. I think we're
going to go with 4.
Oh, okay.
You get 2, I get 2.
All right. But these are things you want to have in your portfolio, especially since hopefully, let's cross our fingers, we might get access to our funds before January. If it's a strict toss because remember the initial offer, he was going to be able to give you your funds back within 2 to 3 weeks. So if it is really, and I mean, this would be bad for VGX, but for those of you that just want to get access to your funds as soon as possible, and there are those people that are like, listen, I know I'm not getting 100. Give me as much back as you can, as quickly as you can. And for me, I was a huge VGX fan. It never quite delivered to what I was hoping for. And at this point, all the days that your funds are trapped are depressing. You want to get access to your funds as soon as possible. There's something to be said to being in control again, having that feeling like you're in control of your own destiny. So I think that's important to understand. So getting this over with is great. In case anyone is interested, if a class rejects the plan, the debtors go back and try to sweeten the deal with FTX. So there is a chance to get FTX to maybe put more in, maybe give an assurance that we're going to get something back for VGX, like you said, a swap. Like what are you going to do so the people that were holding a ton of VGX aren't just left dry? What are you going to do to help them out? And I think that's very fair. I would love to have Sam on. I don't think our show is big enough to get him on, but if someone out there is listening to this, they can get Sam to talk. I think Sam owns the community some communication. Whether or not he goes on any YouTube shows or Twitter Spaces, I think it's important for Sam to be honest in terms of his intentions and not sugarcoat anything. What are you planning to do, and how quickly are you planning to do it? I think those are reasonable requests from us, the customers.
Well, welcome us into the FTX community. I mean, bring us in. This is a strong, loyal community. I mean, look at all the people who are riding this out and, hoping that VGX is something that still lives, or hoping that the platform lives on. We even have people here that are hoping that happens. You and I both were hoping that would happen because of the VGX, because the platform was so awesome to trade on compared to some of the other ones. And so, yeah, I wish that was going to happen, but it's not. So I think that for him, he needs to provide that clarity to us. He needs to, and for me, I really, really, I have to say this over and over again. If VGX isn't going to be something moving forward, not something that has utility, then I would like a swap. I would like to take, equal value for FTT tokens, because I'm a believer in the native token, the token with utility on a platform, and especially a platform that has that kind of strength. Like I said before, they're moving on to looking into acquiring, Celsius. That could be their very next move, is picking up Celsius and doing the very same thing with Celsius. And so if that's going to happen, I think that there's going to be some use for a lot of FTT tokens, and I think that the value is going to go through the roof. Again, it's also deflationary, and so the amount that they have is going to be decreased over time. And when you have a deflationary token that has utility, you're going to get value there. So there's going to be price action on that token. I really believe that. So I think that moving forward, even if you even if you're wanting the platform to move to stay on, or if that's your hope, then I think maybe even just go do KYC on FTX, make sure that you're there, and possibly pick up those tokens. Not financial advice, but if if you just go on a KuCoin, or if you go on to Coinbase wallet, I really think that FTT, with the acquisition mission that they're on, I think that token could have some value. Again, this is not a publicly traded platform the way VGX was. And so the people who held the stock in Voyager, I wonder what they're going to get out of this. My feeling is that they're going to get some sort of cash value, or my hope is anyway. That's the hopium I'm smoking for them. But
I think stocks, unfortunately. No, I think if you had the stocks, it's not a good situation. No, it's over. There's no new company. They made that clear from the beginning. But we should probably wrap this up because we don't know when we're going to get cut off. But listen, 4 coins you have to have during the bear market is coming soon. If anything happens, and if we can get on and we still have our power, we will come on. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification, whatever you can to help us out. For Mr.
And if you've got suggestions for that show, think utility and interoperability. But if you've got suggestions for that show, leave them in the comments below, and leave your favorite tokens in the comments below. We're not against doing a review.
We'll cover anything.
Tokens. Yeah, we're here for you guys.
For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Stay safe and have a good night, everybody.
We will see you guys later.